go?
It's streaming. You're live right now.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. It's about a 20-second delay.
Let me go ahead, Connie.
Yes, you can go ahead. So once we start, now that it's streaming, it'll be 20 seconds before you actually see it on YouTube.
Okay. All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Let the record show that we are meeting virtually via Zoom, and it is being recorded for the public on YouTube Live, I believe. Okay, Connie, can we have the roll call, please?
Mrs. Anderson? Here. Mr. Gust? Mr. Gust, yeah, there you go.
Here.
Mr. Shoemaker?
Here.
Mrs. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Winkler? Mr. Winkler?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's pray. Father God, thank you for this opportunity to come together to take care of the business of the district and the technology to do so. Please guide us to make the best decisions for our students and staff. And especially during this time, God, please bless us during this COVID-19 season. Bless our students, their families, our staff, and our community. In Jesus' name, amen.
Okay, can everybody see this?
I can. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation.
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Connie, for that flag.
You're welcome.
Okay, this brings us to public participation, and I don't believe there is any, correct, Connie?
We need to do the approval of the agenda.
I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I miss that every time. Is there any questions or issues with the agenda?
Ron and Jerry, do you want to unmute? So if you're saying anything, we can hear you.
You guys can just leave them unmuted if you would, Jerry and Ron.
Am I muted or not?
We can
Not
hear
now.
Hear me, can't you?
now. We can, yeah.
Okay, I've never been. That's okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Am I supposed to see somebody or just this screen?
You should be able to see Connie.
Nope. It says host your own Zoom meetings. All I ever see.
Huh.
I could see her earlier, but then something happened and this came up.
Do you have Ron, do you, up in your right-hand corner, do you have a gallery view or a speaker view option to pick?
Option to pick.
He's got to move his mouse around to wake it up sometimes.
That's all right. I don't have to see anybody.
Okay, so there was no issues with the agenda.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, Okay, voting is open.
Does it show on the page here? Do we have to go on board docs, Connie?
You have to go on board docs.
I won't be seeing you then, will I? It don't really matter.
You should still see me, but you'll have to toggle back and forth between the two pages.
I didn't hear you. Wait a minute.
You'll just have to toggle back and forth between the two pages.
Okay.
Or you can
Approval.
you can
Okay.
make Connie smaller, her screen, and then make board docs the majority of your screen.
How do you do that?
Is Zane still there?
Dang.
Right? If he minimizes and open board docs, since we're not having video, you just got to be able to hear. It doesn't matter
Right.
if it's up or not. So he just has to minimize and then open up board docs in another page.
But I want to see the board docs too, bud.
Okay,
The-
Mrs. Anderson,
Yeah,
Mr. Gust,
Yes.
Mr. Shoemaker,
Yes.
Sure,
Mrs.
that's
Smith,
okay.
Yes.
Mr. Winkler.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries and the agenda is approved. This brings us to public participation. There was none, correct, Connie?
I do not have any. Cindy or Rob, have you seen any come through?
No, we have not.
Okay, this brings us to superintendent's report.
All right, thank you. First of all, I want to thank everyone for coming to this meeting virtually during these rough times. Hope everybody's safe and continues to stay safe. A few things I want to touch base on, let you know a few things that's really exciting that's been going on through the district here before I go to the rest of the cabinet members. We are continuing to serve lunches through two of our cafeterias. At Woodsfield, they're averaging about 360 bags a day, which is actually on Mondays, that's 3 lunches per bag, which comes out to anywhere from 1,000 to 1,400 lunches. On the riverfront, they're doing anywhere from 420 to 560 lunches a day that they're delivering. We'd still deliver on Mondays and Thursdays. Mondays that we have enough to get them through 3 days, and on Thursdays they have enough to get them through the 4 days, including the weekend. I also want to give a shout out to Mr. Mark Moore, one of the teachers down at on the River campus. Also to Mr. Romick. Mr. Romick and myself went around the district and collected all the 3D machines. Mr. Moore has been over here all this week, a few days last week, actually. I mean, probably putting in 12 hours a day, producing face shields that we have contacted the Monroe County Sheriff's Department, the Woodsfield Police Department, and the Powhatan Police Department. Sheriff's Department's requesting probably around 40 masks that they would like to have.
Hey, Rob, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Craig Robinson is texting me and he says he can't see the video. It says video unavailable. Playback has been disabled by video owner.
YouTube. Go off of our webpage and go to YouTube. Sarah,
The meeting is live. I've got it playing on my phone.
I do too. Go to YouTube, not on the school webpage.
Okay. Is there a link on our webpage to go to YouTube or?
If you click on that thing that says it's not available, it will take you to YouTube.
YouTube live video.
Here are some videos of live video I found on the web.
Okay, go ahead.
Board meeting, Monroe County.
Thank you, Rob.
Here are some videos I found on the web.
All right, I'll go ahead and continue.
Yes, thank you.
Make it a little bit quicker here. Back to the face shields. Once we get those delivered, we're going to try to get them delivered tomorrow. And then we're going to reach out to local EMTs and see how many they may need. And we're going to try to accommodate them as well. We also delivered 60 lunch trays to the places in Woodsfield, Westwood Living. They were short on lunch trays because of COVID-19, they have to deliver meals to each individual room. They contacted us, see if we had any we could lend out. So we did lend them, and we delivered those on Monday morning. And I want to give a shout out to Tess for number one, helping organize this meeting, helping set it up. And also she is currently working on our campuses, having internet access that our students can come in and come into the parking lots and have internet access throughout the day. I'll talk to Tess tomorrow. I don't know when we'll be able to get that up and running, but I know she's working tirelessly to do that. And that's going to be a big help. That's going to be a big help for a lot of our students that have limited internet access at their homes. With that being said, I'll go through our cabinet. I'm going to start out with Jason. Jason, do you have anything you need to mention?
No, Rob. The only thing I've got on the agenda tonight is the approval of the purchase of the new van to replace the one that we lost the engine in. Other than that, we're just got a skeleton crew maintenance, and we're just dealing with buildings and issues as they come about. That's all.
It's supposed to be on YouTube Live.
All right. Thank you, Jason. Anybody have any questions for Jason? Okay, Larry, Mr. Kozik, you have anything you need to mention?
Yes, Rob, I just want to give the board an update. I'll be brief and concise. First of all, I wanted to let them know that I sent out a Google form to the intervention specialists, the service providers, and this form documents all communication between teachers and parents. And I have a running record of the communication and the responses from the parents and students. So currently we are remotely monitoring and reviewing all ETRs and IEPs that are being submitted, and we sign them electronically. And right now we have about 175 IEPs that need reviewed and submitted in April and May. And I've been conducting and participating in Zoom meetings, Google Hangout, teleconferencing with special ed teachers, state support team, ODE, and Ohio Valley ESC. So we're daily doing virtual meetings along with phone conferencing with parents and teachers. The guidance that we're getting from the state, from ODE, is that we should be making a good faith effort to reach parents and provide services to special needs students. So that's the challenge, and I think we're doing the best we can with that. I do have a question, and maybe it's for Rob or Jennifer. As far as the progress reports that the special ed teachers need to submit every 4.5 every time midterms come out, are the buildings sending out midterm reports for the fourth quarter? Or hasn't that been discussed yet?
Larry, that has not been discussed, but there are some things that are going to be approved tonight on grading for the rest of the quarter. So I don't think that is going to happen.
What, that we're not going to be sending them out?
Yeah, I don't see that we're going to be able to do midterms.
Okay. Okay, I know I'm getting questions from my intervention specialist about their progress reports. They want to know how they can do those. So, but the rule is that if the buildings aren't sending them out, then the special ed teachers don't need to send them out either. Okay, all right. Any questions from the board that I can answer at this time?
Thank you, Larry.
Okay, sure, you're welcome. Okay, Mr. Caldwell, back to you.
Thanks, Mr. Kozlik. Also, I'd like to give a big thank you to all of our teachers, our intervention specialists, and all of our other teachers as well. I mean, through no fault of their own, I mean, they're doing so many, they're trying to do so many things so fast and trying to learn new ways to deliver education to our students without even being able to see them. And I have been seeing things where some of them are doing them the same way we are through Zoom and so on. And they're really working hard. And we appreciate everything they're attempting to accomplish. Mrs. Bohatch, do you have anything?
I just want to give my sincere thanks to our admin team and our teachers for the hard work and the quick action on their part and continuously worrying about our students and reaching out and trying to touch base with every one of their students to see if they're okay. So I appreciate all of the hard work and collaboration that our staff has done.
Ms. Bohatch, can you mention a few of the things that I know you emailed out, but just maybe mention a few as well for the public? Like I know one of our teachers went around in her vehicle to try to see all of her students and say hi to them, and wasn't there someone who had a birthday or something also?
Right. We've had teachers singing happy birthday virtually and connecting with their students, reading stories to them and providing them a daily story for the younger students to listen to. And we did have a teacher drive to each one of the homes and keep a safe social distance, just being able to visit from a distance with each one of our class members, knowing that, you know, they're safe, they're okay. So a lot of teachers have gone way above and beyond just to make sure that their kiddos are good and safe.
That's awesome.
That's great to hear. And I know they'll continue to do that as well. All right, Mrs. Smith, that should wrap up the superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, that brings us to the consent agenda. Does anything need pulled out or any questions, further discussion on any of the items? I usually go down the row, so I'll just start with you, Jerry. You got anything on the consent agenda?
No, ma'am.
Ron, you got anything?
No.
Okay, Greg, I think you're next.
No.
Do I have any questions or issues?
No.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I second.
I just have one typo for number 4. Unless that's changed, it should be blessings in a backpack.
You are correct. I didn't see that, but yes, that's the same as it's always been. It should be blessings in a backpack. I didn't see that, blizzard bags in a backpack. That was definitely a typo.
Mrs. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Gust,
Yes.
Mr. Shoemaker,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Winkler.
Yes.
It helps if I unmute myself so you guys hear me.
It's appreciated. Okay, motion carries. Your cursor is still on approval, Connie. I was just waiting. Make sure you were ready. And you're muted.
Okay, I'm ready now. Sorry.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to old business. Discussion and possible action on previous Village of Woodsfield tax increment financing ordinance on MCPA Ludwig Hotel site and roadway. And so this is actually kind of two parts, because number one is the previous, for lack of a better word, the previous one that we received. The last action on that was, I believe it was March 23rd, we sent an email to them. So I had talked with our attorney, and I thought to keep things clear, we should address that one. And that is when we emailed them on the 23rd, there, we proposed some things to them, and they really didn't comment on that. They really responded with the one from yesterday. So the attorney, Christian Williams, has not had an opportunity to give that good attention to go through it. And it is quite different. Is that one attached, Connie, to our, let me check that attachment and see which one is there.
Yes, the one attached in the executive content is the one from Tuesday evening. I don't know.
The one that is attached, that's not the actual ordinance. That's just the notice that was received on the 7th.
Okay.
So Sarah, this is Bev. Did Attorney Williams suggest then we deny that one because they didn't agree to our response? So we're not held up with the time frame, even though they was 1 day short. If we weren't in agreement with their proposal on that one.
Yeah, he thought just to be cautious with it, we could move on that, and I feel like that just would clear it. You know what I mean? Like there's no confusion, and then we can look at the 4/7 email and what was recently received, and go with that one. There's no confusion as to which one we're talking about, and I just feel like that would clear everything up. So in the interest of being clear and cautious, I can make a motion to not approve that TIF agreement conditions set forth in the, I think it's the 312 correspondence that they sent to us. There really was no response to the 323 email. So
I second that motion.
If this is taken care of, then we move on to what we got this week
Yes.
for discussion and possible action. Just so I'm clear.
Yeah, this is just on the,
312 stuff.
correct.
The previous.
Okay. Yeah, which they told us before to deny that so we could have a new notice and ordinance.
So Sarah, I put in the motion to deny 31220 documents. Is there anything else you want in there?
No, I think
Okay.
that's good.
Okay, voting is open. Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson,
Yes,
Mr. Gust,
Abstain.
Mr. Shoemaker,
Yes.
Mr. Winkler.
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried in denying the TIF. So now on the 4.7 one that is attached, we can open that up for discussion or questions, or having trouble opening mine. Hold on.
Sarah, what we sent to them, and then they sent a response to us on this week, one day, and then which was forwarded to Mr. Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any response from Mr. Williams as to what changes they or anything that they didn't agree on, or and then after that, was it resubmitted?
You mean the 4.7 one?
Yeah.
No, when I talked to Christian, he didn't have a chance. He had not even looked at it. I had forwarded it to him, and he mentioned it was quite different of a proposal because, the previously it was like 80% in 30 years, and now it's the 100% with another piece of that, and the money is coming back. And I spoke with him this evening right before the meeting, and he said that he did not have a chance to scrutinize it, to thoroughly go through it. And I understand that with all of the COVID stuff going on and clarifications needed, I felt like that was reasonable, so I didn't press him.
So what are there any particular points for you or any of the board members that it's a holdup? Because I thought we were under the impression that we were going to start making recommendations based on what we knew to Mr. Williams to put in there what we were comfortable with, and then have him make those changes and then forward that on to Dean and Jason.
Yes, that's what we did with the March 23rd, and we got
Right.
no response from the village or Dean or Jason.
Right. Well,
So
until this week.
and until yesterday, and
Yeah.
and then this is quite different. I'm not even sure that I understand it all, but on one part of it, if we do the 100% of the real estate, the property taxes, then no other entities that would normally receive the property taxes won't receive any.
Are you talking about the county's portion?
Like I think, doesn't the library get some, maybe the extension office?
Yeah. Isn't the school district percentages in the 70 some percent? And then
correct.
the remaining 30 odd percent is broken down into small increments over several different things.
Yeah, I pulled up from the county treasurer's site. And it looks like the county the township or village that sits in MCBDD, that's Monroe County Board of Development. EMS, Extension, Board of Health, Park District, Senior Citizens, Soil and Water, and then the village.
Does it tell you specific percentages?
The graph I have pulled up just gives the dollar amount of the settlement for like
Okay.
the spring settlement. No, I don't have percentages.
No, just curious. That's not a big deal. So tell me, Sarah, what is that? So they're proposing that all 100% of the TIF money go directly back to the district or the TIF?
Yes, but then I think that the other part of that is some of that money comes back to the district. Right?
The way I read it in Jason's email, and he uses if you look at Jason's email that he sent Tuesday, now they're asking for 100% TIF for 30 years. It still has the $600,000 cap, but it would take that 100,000 and then giving 20% back to the school district, but none back to any of the other entities. So I'm not in favor of that because, yeah, it may be a small portion, but that small portion may be very important to those entities because they don't receive as much revenue as we do.
So why, in your opinion, Bev, why would they ask for that as opposed to going with the 80-20?
I don't have any
advantage or disadvantage?
I don't have any idea because if they're going to give 20% of it back, I don't understand what the advantage would be. Now in Jason's email in 3A, he gives two different calculations and he's using two different valuations for the hotel in those calculations. So I feel that's not an accurate portrayal. They're trying to say the school district will get $4,000 more a year, but it's using two different valuations.
What they're saying is the cobblestone in Orville was 2.5, and this in here they say it's going to be like 1.7.
So it's a comparison. It's a comparison.
Yeah, comparison it is.
Yeah.
And that 1.7 seems cheap to me. I don't know. If that other outfit in Wayne County was spent 2.5 million, you're talking 800,000 difference there.
You're talking about where something is located is going to define price in itself.
Yeah.
I don't know where the other place is at and what type of town, city it's in. Orville.
Yeah.
So I'd say Orville's a little bit bigger than Woodsfield.
Oh yeah.
And that, if it's a comparison, I'm trying to find out. I saw it the other day, Bev, and now I can't find it.
The email
from Jason, but that comparison you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's in the body of his email.
The last one he sent out, Greg, it'd be under number
It's April 7th, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah,
under
I've got that pulled up.
It's an email from Jason.
Yeah. It's to all 5 board members.
Right. Tuesday.
I don't understand how they would benefit by this.
Well, what it sounds like to me is it's an incentive for the district to say we're getting the 100% as opposed to the 70%. I mean,
we're not getting 100%. We're getting 20%.
We're getting 20%, right?
Well, but I'm saying you said get 100% of the tax as opposed to spreading it out to the other entities.
Yeah,
They're
Right.
using it as an incentive, in my opinion, to sweeten the deal, I guess, or whatever, however you want to say it. So, do you look at it in terms of, are we worried about a few dollars for these other people over the next so many years? Or do we want to get more money for us over the 30-year period?
I guess one of my things was they didn't respond to the 323 email and that attachment. I don't know what the problem was with that one. And then this one is totally different to me. I mean, I'm sure that there's a lot of the same points in there, but
I still think if there's going to be no end to it, if we don't come up with, the five of us don't come up with an agreement on what we think is, there's always going to be a way to question something. So we don't understand it all, which takes it back to the attorney every single time. The attorney's always going to question something because it may not be in the best interest, but we still have to we said from the beginning when we had a couple of those work meetings that we would have to not negotiate necessarily, but meet in the middle ground because they need advantages. We need advantages. So where's the best possible way if we want this done? Then that's what it boils down to. Do we want it done? Yes or no? If we say yes, then we have to come up with we have to come up with a way to do it. We can't keep questioning and sending it back for the attorneys every single time because he's going to find something to question.
we as a school board, we got to do what's best for our kids in our district. If they're going to give us more money, we'd be crazy not to take it.
That's my point. But if we want to question that money, then it's going to go back to the attorney. We're looking at 2, 3, 4, 5 more weeks, and we're back to square one because they're going to send something back. Then it's going to be sent to the attorney, and then it's going to be questioned again.
Yeah, and all we're doing is paying attorney fees.
And we're paying attorney fees every time it happens. Correct.
If you looked at checkbook, you seen we had 6,600 a month. That's higher than normal. So it must be because of this TIF. We need to get it resolved, either give it to them or not and move on. Quit fooling with these attorneys.
we tried. The ball was in their court. When we sent that 323 email, we brought concerns to them. We said, this is acceptable to us, and they didn't respond to it. And they turned around and gave us a whole different deal. I'm not sure what was wrong with the 323 one. Why learn all new terms and everything in this one that we received yesterday, the day before the board meeting? And I don't think it's reasonable for them to think that we could act on that one this evening.
But what my question is to you, do you think we're getting a better deal here or not?
I don't know, because I haven't even had the chance to look through it yet. I'm still wondering what was wrong with the one that we sent them. We didn't get a response on it.
Well, the numbers he put in his email are not accurate because he's using two different valuations. The 8,000 is based on the 2.5 million, and the numbers we were given before was on the lower valuation. So yeah, we would get more because we would get the other entities part. But me personally, I'm not in favor of that because some of these other programs benefit the kids too.
That's a good point.
So
I mean,
we
that's just my opinion. I'm not trying to.
Well, here's my point.
Else, but that's just my opinion.
I agree with you, Bev, but there has to be some way. Somebody's going to have to do something. We could find a way, and that was my point earlier. We could find a way to nitpick this thing to death, which is clearly being done. And we have to, and I think Jerry said it, We have to do what's best for the district and the county. And I don't know that a hotel is the best thing, but if it's going to get property taxes for the school district, then that's the best thing. We have to come up, the five of us have to come up with the best possible case. We're not going to understand all the jargon. So we're relying on an attorney, but every time we rely on an attorney, he comes back with more questions. And then we have more questions because we don't understand it. If we know the nuts and bolts of the TIF, which I think we do, we know the basis of the whole TIF, then the other stuff just has to be as it is. I think probably the original thing we saw 2 months ago was probably the best situation. But now that we've kind of thrown that out and then they've come back with something else, then again, there's more questions. So where does that, in my question is, where does that stop? Where does the question stop?
Well, here's my question. Back on the 23rd, when we sent one with all of our suggestions that probably took a week or so to gather, I mean, we have not heard one response. Why would they not respond to us, say, hey, we like the direction you're going, but can we tweak this or tweak that? They never responded to any of the proposals that, and I think everybody had input. You know, some of the suggestions that we made and we forwarded to Christian, he wrote up, and some of our new proposals was actually written in red. And when it was sent to their attorney, I mean, we never even got a response. Like, hey, thanks for working with us, but can we work on this or work on that? Nothing. I mean, then 2 days before a board meeting, we get another one thrown at us.
Well, let me ask you this, Rob. Wasn't that the same time that Mr. Williams and Mr. Spoor was in a little bit of a
no, that was prior. That was earlier.
Over the one day?
Huh?
Yeah, we overlooked that.
Yeah, over the one. It started with because he said it at 44 days instead of 45. And
right. And Dean Spoor said it was a typo. Well, yeah. I'm sorry, but this is legal stuff. You can't just fix it. And that was, but we ignored that. And it was after that we sent the recommendation that had they responded or accepted it, whatever they needed to do with it, we could have moved on that tonight. But the day before the meeting, they came up with something totally different. I mean, I don't think that we're causing problems. I don't think we're questioning it too much. And we're not purposely running up attorney bills. I
want to say, if you remember when we first started this deal, the agreement was when we left the board meeting, that was my understanding. I think a couple other board members said the same thing, that we're going to give it to the attorneys and they're going to hash it out and turn it over to us and we're going to vote on it. And they keep going back and forth. It's going to be endless if we don't do something here pretty soon. We ought to either drop it or move on or something. But if you remember, the attorneys were supposed to hash it out and bring us back something to vote on, not to tell us, you know, that's what we're paying them for. Tell us what to do and let's move on.
The proposal from yesterday didn't even get sent to our attorney. I forwarded it to him.
It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be sent to, it's not supposed to be sent to the attorney. The attorney is not supposed to make the decisions. He's supposed to take our suggestions based on a high revised code and write it up for us if that's what we agreed on as a board. It's not for him to nitpick and write it up. It's not his job. You can ask anybody. So, you know, what an attorney is going to find a problem with, that's what I'm saying. There has to be middle ground somewhere. And like Jerry said, it's sad to think that we're going to just let this go because an attorney is telling, we got attorneys in a disagreement over something for whatever reason. And he's right, Jerry's right. We left it for them to write it up and get together and take care of it, and they're not doing that.
And it got wrote up and sent to them and they didn't act on it. They came out with something totally different.
Is there any way, or would you like for us to maybe respond to them and ask them what some of the issues they had with the one we proposed? And, you know, maybe that's a starting point with the one we sent to them. And I think all of you,
That'd be a good idea.
Mr. Winkler had some input on that and some suggestions that we sent to them. I mean, I don't know. I'd just like to hear what they thought was what issues did they have with the one we sent them?
Well, the one that we have now that we just got Tuesday, what are the issues, or what has changed other than the part about 100%?
Nothing ended up in there.
Did you
There
read it?
isn't one thing that ended up in there that we gave them.
See, we've already talked about that. All that stuff was null and void. And that was based on our attorney said, like things like hold harmless and partnership and all that kind of stuff was taken out by our attorney.
No.
And the only thing that is
Partnership was not even in there.
what was it?
The partnership is not even in the ordinance language because that has to be done separate from the ordinance.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The things we talked about putting in, the attorney took out.
Some of what by law that we couldn't do, but like the sunset clause, it's not in there. You know, he took out the part for the apprenticeship because that would be an agreement that the school did with
the business.
With the business directly, because the village wouldn't be able to, what do you call it? Guarantee, yeah, like enforce it. But nothing that we could do in law ended up in that new ordinance.
Like what?
Well, give me a second to pull it up, but the 100% change, we did not do the 100%. The sunset clause didn't end up in there at all.
Now, I didn't look at the TIF because I haven't really had time to do that, but in his email, in Jason's email, it does say, and like I said, I haven't looked at the TIF to see that it's in there, that instead of it happening to be done in 5 years, he said it will end in 2050 and the 600,000 cap is still on there.
Is that what you mean by the sunset thing?
Cindy, is that what you?
What we mean is when the 600,000, whatever that amount is to pay for that infrastructure, when that's paid for, then this ends. Otherwise, it's going to 30 years, and they're still taking all the money beyond that.
If it's capped, if it's capped at 600,000, that's what that means, that it stops when that happens. And also the part about if nothing happens by 2025, it's null and void. Well, that doesn't matter because once it starts, which is 2021, it stops in 2051, regardless if they built anything or not.
Have we even gotten the ordinance? Yes, down here maybe,
Yes.
at the bottom. Rob, if you talk to them, I'd be interested as to why they changed from 80-20 to the 100.
What was that again, Bev? I'm sorry.
Whenever you talk to them, yeah, I would be interested in that, why they changed from 80-20 to the 100%. And then give us 20 back. They're still going to net the same amount. So I don't see what the benefit is to them, why they propose that.
I believe that 20 is coming directly from the hotel, not from their kitty, if I was reading that right. But I just got it late yesterday, so really didn't have time to comb it through well.
I think it said 20% of the service payments.
Are we good with Rob asking them what was their feeling on the 323? Email.
I tried to go back and look in my email. Did we get a copy of what Christian sent back to them? I would have thought we'd have been copied on that, but
I don't know. Let me look.
Anybody on the call, can you tell me or give me the definition of what a service payment is? What does that mean exactly?
well, the way they explained it, I believe at our work session on the 2nd, that's the payments they make in lieu of making the tax payments
It's
to
pay the TIF.
to that there's a certain fund that they call it in the ordinance to pay back the infrastructure costs. That's how it was explained that day when we had the attorneys on the line.
Bev, is when we talked about that, they go out and they somehow get bonds to get the money, and then they use this money to pay that back in terms of service payments, correct?
Yes.
The March 23rd email I did forward to the board. I'll forward it to admin now so that they have a reference.
Because if you take 20% of that lower valuation, it comes out to about $6,188 versus the $8,000 figure in his email. So
do you think that is, he just kind of sweetened the deal in terms of instead of the 80, is it really 80, 20 and then 100? I mean, what, or is it just 100% of the service payments?
no, well, if you look at his email,
I can't find that part. I don't know where.
it's in the body. If you pull up Jason's email from Tuesday about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's in the body of his email. It's not in any of the attachments. I don't know why he uses that $2.5 million figure to compare. He calculates the $8,992 out of that. And then he uses the lower figure to calculate the other number. You can't compare two different figures from two different valuations.
And as far as them basic sweetening the deal, they didn't necessarily need to. All they needed to do was respond to that one that was attached to the 323 email.
Well, that was kind of my question originally, was other than this, and I'm sorry, I just can't find it, but other than this one thing of this 100%, is there anything else that's different?
I don't know. I haven't had a chance to go through it.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to put the two beside each other either.
Are we good with Rob reaching out to Dean or whoever to ask them about the 323 email?
I'm fine with that.
You good with that, Jerry?
Yes, ma'am.
You good with that, Ron? Ron?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay. Could you hear the discussion?
Some of it.
So you want me to recap real quick?
No, I just like to get it done with.
Yeah, I would too. And I'm not sure, like I said, why they didn't respond to the one we sent them.
Because I'll tell you what, the longer we wait, the worse it gets, because if you go sell bonds right now, the market's good for them.
Right. So you would think rather than sending us a brand new one the day before the board meeting, they would respond to the one we sent them 14 days ago?
Well, I don't know, but I heard a little bit about the lawyers, and I agree with Greg here and Jerry. All you ever do is pay the lawyers, and who loses, we lose. We could work this out ourselves, I think.
And that would be fine, but you're talking about a lot of legal language that I'm not comfortable deciphering. And
I'm not either, but they work for us.
yeah, I agree. And that's why I thought we were done when we sent it to them. I figured, that they would respond to that, and it could be over this evening.
Yeah,
But
it could have been done if the attorney would have, right after that one meeting, met with them and got it done with. We wouldn't be here in this situation.
Yeah.
What are we out by taking action tonight?
I'm not comfortable taking action because I haven't even read it.
What are we out?
I don't understand
It's
your
not
question.
it's not about the comfortability, because we've had questions every time that something has come about. We've had questions about what Christian has written. We've had questions about what Dean has written. We've had questions about what Jason has said. We get nothing for the property right now. Nothing.
Actually, this is Cindy. Greg, I'd like to know what we're out. That's the questions tonight. Like, what are the actual real numbers?
Yeah, we've asked this for 3 months. 3 months we've asked the same questions. It's going to never end.
Well, it got a little closer this time. At least we know what the evaluation of the property is, because we couldn't even get that in the beginning. we couldn't even get out of them what they were going to build on it for a while.
Does the administration not want the TIF?
No, I haven't heard anyone on the administration team talk negative about the TIF.
So something that's going to generate.
My big issue, I mean, I just can't believe they didn't respond to the one that we sent them back on the 23rd. And they just 2 days before a board meeting, well, no, actually about 24 hours before a board meeting, they send us the new ordinance and they expect us to digest that and talk to our attorney and see, you know, legal language. And I mean, I just can't believe they did not respond to us for the one we sent them on the 23rd. To me, that's unprofessional.
So we're holding in our hands opportunity investors because we're upset that somebody didn't respond to something we sent, and we're going to start this process all over again and wait another month.
No, we don't have to. We're at this point, we're asking Rob to reach out to them as to why they didn't. If he does that, we don't have any more attorney fees because we looked at the old TIF. We understand the old TIF and we accepted what we sent them. So we don't even have to look at this 4.7 one, in my opinion, but you know, open to input here. I think we go with the 323 one. Everybody had their input on that. That was something we all could have lived with. Why would you start over and introduce something totally different now?
Because weren't there some things in there that we even talked about that would be taken out, i.e. the partnership, and there was something else.
Right, the partnership was separate.
Okay, so we had to take that out.
It was already taken out. It was taken out on the 323 one when we sent it back to them because we all understood that that's not something that you can put in a TIF. That has to be talked with the owner of the hotel about, if I'm right. So
can I interrupt here? Can I interrupt something?
Go ahead, Jerry.
This is Ronnie. Ronnie. Okay. Hey, can I interrupt here? I'd like to get this done in a hurry. Can we have a special meeting at 4 o'clock on Tuesday? One way or the other, we're going to vote on either one of these.
Sounds good to me.
What do you think, Greg?
I don't think you can vote on the other one, Ronnie, because the village didn't even respond to it. I take that as they're not even acknowledging it.
Well,
unless you're talking about go back to failing it and it goes to the, what is it, 75-10, which is a good option at this point.
I'm saying I want to vote on something. And if it's discussion to go back and ask them what, you know, I want to vote on something, and I don't care if it's tonight or Tuesday night. But if you feel comfortable going back to them and ask them what was going on, if we vote on Tuesday night, that's fine, or I'm ready to vote tonight. Lost.
okay, Rob, so will you reach out to them regarding the one that was sent 323 and
why can't we table it and move on?
What's that?
Huh?
I can't hear you, Jerry.
Why can't we deny it or table it or move on? Let's table it and move on. How about that? Let's just table it and then we'll decide what we're doing later. Let's move on. We're keep going hashing back and forth. Nobody's got an agreement or nothing. Let's just table it, move on, and we'll try to get something out of them by next week sometime, I guess.
Yeah, Rob was going to reach out to him. With that, Rob?
I mean, I'm for that, but
yes, I got
you. Here, I can go back and forth. Let's do something.
Yeah, but I think a board member ought to be involved too.
What's that?
I think a board member ought to go with them or, discuss. I'd like to have a board member.
Okay, that's fine. We can send a board member with them or meet with them and talk with them. If you want to, Ronnie, that's fine with me.
I thought maybe Greg would.
Well, let Greg meet with them and
Well,
then
Greg's going to respond first,
Actually,
Yeah.
Greg's been to the table, hadn't he? I thought, Greg, you knew the players at this because we were going to work on that apprenticeship agreement with whoever these folks are.
Yeah, I've talked to everybody involved.
Okay.
And I'd be happy to, but we can't keep saying and making excuses and finding reasons not to do something. This has been going on way too long. We got way more important things to handle in this district than bickering over a business coming into Woodsfield and having a tiff. So whatever has to happen, I've talked to Jason, I've talked to everybody here. I've talked to several investors. There's some importance. It may not be the most important thing for us, but there's a lot of people involved here. And we're running back between the attorneys, and it gets my goat that we have to make the decision.
Yep.
We have to come up with an agreement, and we're not going to understand everything because there's too much legal jargon involved. So we're relying on our attorney. But from what I've seen, it's been nothing but a back and forth show between the attorneys of nitpicking each other, and it's just getting ridiculous. That's my opinion. So if Rob wants to reach out, then it needs to be tomorrow. And it needs to be done and this thing taken care of ASAP, not tabled, not next week, not next board meeting.
can Rob talk to them and call us and get the results and poll vote us?
We'll just reach out to them and try to find out what the issues they had with the one that we sent on the 23rd. That's to me is where we need to start.
I agree.
Yeah. That'd be fine. But then, like I say, see if you think it's a good deal, Rob, just bring it back to us and we can poll vote it. We don't have to have no meeting.
No, we would have to have a meeting to accept it.
We couldn't poll vote it over the phone like we have in the past on.
I'd personally rather do it in a meeting.
Now, there has to be an actual resolution we vote on and pass.
You're going to be able to do it on Tuesday.
We can do another virtual meeting next week.
Nope. That sounds good. Let's move on.
Okay, I hear you. Which brings us to new business. First item is the Ford van from Knowlton's.
I make a motion we accept.
I'll second it.
Voting is open. Mr. Gust,
Yes.
Mr. Shoemaker,
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes,
Mr. Winkler.
Yes.
motion carries. Okay, that brings us to the policies. Does anybody have any questions or any of them need explanation or anything?
No, ma'am.
Nope.
No.
No.
Okay, we'll go on. Discussion and approval of the contingency plan.
So move.
Second.
This is Bev. I sent an email. Maybe you didn't get it, Rob. The attachment on here is not complete. If underneath of, in our policies under ready for board approval, below those other policies we just went by, underneath there is this policy, and there's like another page and a signature page. I didn't have a problem with it, but I just wanted to make sure that we get the entire one on the agenda.
Bev,
Okay,
can you-
voting is open.
again? We're trying to, we want to make sure we're looking at the right policy.
It has, it's like it's on the old Neola format, and it has the options checked. Like this adopt said plan is not checked, but the next option is.
Okay.
That's what's on board docs under policies ready for board approval.
So it looks like it's missing a page.
Yeah, or maybe 2 pages.
I think it's missing 2 pages.
All right. Sorry about that. Would we have that? Would that be in the email from Sarah Wiggins?
Yeah, should be. Sarah Wiggins with a.
Bev, do you need it tonight? I might.
No, I'm just saying that's the one that needs signed. Is the one that's, it's in board docs under draft policies ready for board approval. It's the last one. I already looked at it.
With a draft. It's 30.
Volume 38, number 2. That one.
Jennifer, do you know anything about that? 'Cause I know you were communicating with Sarah.
Yes, I know what Bev is talking about. I haven't been able to navigate to it, but there is another piece of that. We can work with Sarah to make sure that's uploaded properly.
I was trying to see if I had it in my emails from her, if I could get the right one.
Yes, Bev, however, yes, we can take care of that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Winkler,
Yes.
Mr. Gust,
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Shoemaker,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith.
Yes. Motion, hold on. I went out looking at policies and I had to get back in.
I'm doing the same thing.
All right, that brings us to number 4, discussion and approval of resolution for impractical to conduct evaluations of teachers, school counselors, administrations, and superintendents for the year.
No questions from Jerry.
I just had one question on section 2 of the resolution. It says a true and complete copy of this resolution shall be certified to the county by the treasurer of the board. The county what? I'm just curious. Or is that a typo?
To the county by the clerk or treasurer.
I don't know if it's the count. It says immediately after the passage of this resolution. I don't know, to the county what?
Should it maybe say state? Like, do we have to report back to the state that we waived the evaluations?
Did this come from Neola?
Whose item is it?
I got a copy of,
It might be missing just one word there that would clear it up.
Which part, Bev?
Section 2, it's only one line.
This comes from the State Department of Education, right? A true and complete copy of this person shall be certified to or resolution. No, I think that's right. A true and complete copy of this resolution shall be certified to the county by the clerk or the treasurer in the day following. You said number 2, right?
Yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah, we just get it certified by the county,
Or the
and
treasurer.
by the clerk or the treasurer of the board. So it would be the treasurer, really, then now. So we just got to get it certified by through the county.
There's nobody to sign from the county on here. It's only for Sarah and myself.
Well,
So the county doesn't sign this. It's just that you have to submit a copy to the county. That's what I'm reading.
So the county auditor or who?
Well, we have the treasurer though. We can use Connie.
No, it's certified to the county by Connie. I'm fine with it. I just want to make sure we know who we're certifying to.
I don't know. If this is coming from Neola, that would probably be a question for Bill.
Yeah, we can contact him tomorrow as well.
I make a motion to approve it and you get clarification tomorrow.
Second.
Voting is open. Ronnie, is your box popping up to vote?
Ronnie's not on here.
I don't see him anymore either.
Neither.
Okay, well, we lost him.
Well, we have to get him back. It's that
Yeah, we-
on the release.
Ronnie, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, are you, let's see, did your voting box pop up
no, which one?
for new business item 4?
No, didn't come up yet.
Okay, how do you want to vote?
Yes,
Mrs. Anderson?
She's muted.
Yes.
Mr. Gust?
Yes.
Mr. Shoemaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Winkler?
yes.
Okay, motion carries. The next item, I'm thinking, was this Mrs. Bohatch's? The approval of pass fail for grades kindergarten through 8th.
Yes. Do you have any questions on that, Sarah?
No, I didn't know if you wanted to address it.
Just to clarify, that's for grades K through 8. In light of the fact that we're not seeing our students face to face, we felt it was a better measure of the 4th grading period to offer pass fail rather than a letter grade.
I move we approve.
I'll second it.
Second.
Who got that one?
Sarah.
I think it was a tie.
Ladies first. Ladies first.
Okay, voting is open.
I think his
Ron, is your voting box up?
No, but I'm voting yes.
All right, gotcha. Mrs. Anderson,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Gust,
Yes.
Mr. Shoemaker,
Yes.
Mr. Winkler.
Yes,
Motion carried. This brings us to number 6, discussion and approval to waive minimum GPA requirement temporarily for athletic eligibility. How long is temporarily? When would this,
So Sarah, that would just be for this 4th quarter grading period of this year. That is not an OHSSA regulation, but that's a district decision. And we're just asking to waive it for this 4th quarter of the current school year in light of the fact that we aren't being able to see our students on a daily basis.
And the OHSSA guidelines still apply.
Right, which means 5 passing credits, among other things, but it does not have a GPA minimum.
I thought you did have a GPA.
No,
but it was
that
lower than ours. Did they remove that?
No, the GPA is totally our district decision. OHSSA just has 5 passing credits.
Okay, I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Terry, was that you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Voting is open. Ronnie, how you want to vote?
yes.
Thanks. Shut the door, please.
Mrs. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Gust,
Yes.
Mr. Shoemaker,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Winkler,
Yes.
And that motion carries, which brings us to number 7, approval of March financial reports.
I make a motion to approve.
A second.
okay, voting is open.
Carney, I abstain.
Okay. Mrs. Anderson,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Gust,
Abstain.
Mr. Shoemaker,
Yes.
Mr. Winkler.
Abstain.
Okay, motion carries. That's all for business, and that brings us to the treasurer's report.
Okay, I have to update you. I had a call with West Banco on March 30th. As we all know, back last year, I think it was around October, November, we were sitting at a 2% interest rate on our West Banco special accounts. Since this all happened with the virus, we all know the markets have decreased, the market rates have decreased. So I had a conference call with West Banco, and they unfortunately could not honor the 2% any longer because of everything going on. So they gave us right now, starting March 31st, our interest rate will now be 4.45. That will be a rate that will be held for 90 days. So they did work with us a little bit on the interest rate because it could have been a lot lower compared to everything on the market. But they are working with us and giving us a little bit of a better rate. Plus, they're promising that rate for 90 days, and then they'll come back. We'll look at, they'll revisit it within 90 days, and I'll probably be back in touch with them. I did talk to them, and I did express that we're going to, I already have a call and an email into Red Tree, which is our investor, and he's going to work on see what he can do. I did tell West Banco that I was going to go and try to see if I could get a better interest rate. But I wanted to let them know that I was doing that, and they completely understood that we have to do what we have to do. So unfortunately, with everything going on, the interest rates, and who knows when they're going to go back up or it's going to get any better. But I do have a call into Ryan at Red Tree, and he did say we could possibly get something at 1%, maybe. So I'm going to work with him just to see and bring it back to you and see what the market does. So I just wanted to update everybody on that.
You say West Banco was at 2,
It was at 2%, yes.
and what they want to go to?
0.45.
0.45.
And that's good for 90 days. And then they said they would come back to revisit what the market is doing at that time.
Okay.
Thank you, Connie.
Welcome, thank you.
All right, that brings us to personnel.
We're going to take it all in one motion.
I'm sorry.
Can we take it all in one motion if no one has any objections?
Right, yeah, I'm fine with that.
I'm good.
Jerry, you got anything?
No, I'm good with it.
Okay.
What about Greg?
I'm good.
So I'll make a motion, we approve all the personnel. One
Second.
Okay, voting is open. Ronnie, how you want to vote?
Yes.
Mr. Winkler,
Yes.
Mr. Gust,
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Shoemaker,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes. That motion is carried, and that brings us to closing.
Sarah, I got a question for you.
Okay,
Are we setting up a special meeting to vote on that TIF one way or the other at the first of the week?
I'm fine with that.
I'm good.
I mean, we have to give notice.
Right.
All right. They could notice tomorrow for Tuesday.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
For the following Tuesday?
So that would be the 14th.
Yes.
Are you good with that, Connie?
yes, I'm good. Rob, Cindy, are you good?
Doable, but we'll try.
Well, yeah, we'll make contact tomorrow, and see how they feel. I mean, if they want to sit down at the table again, fine. If not, then,
Do you think our
I guess
lawyers are on spring break?
uh,
Because today we had problems getting a hold of people.
well, we'll try to get hold of them tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we'll do our best. We're gonna try to make contact with them tomorrow, unless they're away from their office or whatever, but we'll get in touch tomorrow with them.
All right, good.
Some kind of holiday tomorrow, isn't it Good Friday or something?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why I'm saying, I
Yeah.
don't think we can do
It'd be
it.
better Monday and then make the meeting Wednesday. Give them till Monday, that way you can get a hold of them for sure, and then you could notice it Monday afternoon.
Well, after we talk to, yeah, I mean, I'd say maybe sometime
this
next
is
week.
our
I don't know exactly how quick next week. Maybe it might have to be like Thursday or Friday even.
We'll try to call them tomorrow if they're in,
Okay.
but unless you're off.
No, I'll come in tomorrow. Yeah. We'll make an attempt.
Thank you, Rob.
Yes.
Okay, if there's no other business to come before us, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, voting is open. Ronnie, I'm assuming a yes, right?
Yes.
Mr. Gust,
Yes.
Mr. Winkler,
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Shoemaker,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith.
Yes. All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
You, everybody stay safe.
Yes, you too.
Yes.
Zoom, zoom.